Hey Flosstube, I just finished this project and I'm going to show you a little bit about the process. So the first thing I needed to do was iron a lot of things. So I have to iron the cross-stitch piece, so I start from the back and then work to the front. And then this piece also has some background fabric right here. And then I had a little trim from Lady Creates, and so I'm going to give that a press too. So here are all my ingredients. I've got all of the things I just ironed, some mat board, a little quilt batting, and then I've got a couple different kinds of glue here too, and then scissors and needles and thread, and magnets. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the smaller of my two mat boards in this quilt batting, and I'm just going to use some glue to secure it down. So I cut the corners off so it fits better, and then you can see I just do my little glue squiggle and then fold it over. Here it is from the front. So now I'm going to use some thread to wrap my fabric to these boards. I'm going to start with the backing board while the batting board dries. So I've folded my fabric over, and then I've started some of this upholstery thread, and I'm just using a ladder stitch, starting with the long sides and just going up and down, up and down. Then I fold the short sides over and I do some very long ladder stitches that way too. I like to do this over glue. I know some people like glue, but I just am not a confident gluer, and later actually I break my hot glue gun in this video, so you'll see why that's good. So as I'm doing this, I'm checking the front just to make sure that things are square. This fabric isn't very directional, so it's not a big concern, but we're gonna just keep sewing until it's all done. And it's here where I realize a mistake. I have a mark from the mat that's showing through my fabric, but that's gonna be okay. It's going to be covered by the other mat board, so I'm gonna keep moving. So now I'm doing the exact same thing with my cross-stitch piece on the quilted batting. Starting with the long sides, so I've got a bunch of short little stitches, back and forth, checking the front to make sure that things are lined up, and then go ahead and folding the short sides down and doing those long ladder stitches. And here it is, one last look to make sure things are even. Now we're gonna add the trim. I'm gonna add the rickrack trim with some tacking stitches, no glue. And now we're gonna put both boards together. Usually I would use hot glue for this, but my hot glue gun broke, and so I went ahead and used fabric glue. I spent a lot of time just making sure everything was pressed together tightly before moving on to the next step. And now it's time to add magnets so I can put it onto the backing board. So watching where the placement of the other magnets are, I'm gonna go ahead and just stick my new magnets on. And then I'm gonna put a little glue on them and press the board directly onto them, making sure the board is centered and it looks nice. And there you have it. So now I've got something I can switch around for the seasons. But that's not all. I also like to clean up. So I have the leftover fabric that I'm gonna cut up into usable pre-cuts for later. And then I also like to empty the project bag out. So I've got all my mess, and Audrey's in the way. She likes to help me with this. And here we have it. We've got all the leftover project pieces, the floss, and then all the rest of it can just go back in the bag for the next project. Thanks for following along.